my phone going, right? Go ahead and get the phone going. Let's triple dip and try to get everything all at once. It wants me to get some reels up on my profile. So we need to do a live there also. If it will let me go over everything. It's too many pop-ups. Too many pop-ups sometimes. All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here. Just getting my morning cardio done. We took a 30-minute run this morning, but obviously it's raining right now, and I'm not going to try to do another run. I feel like I didn't quite get really enough activity for me personally, right? I want to get a little bit more physical activity in. All right, we want to get a little bit more. So again, I want to do a bike cardio session before we have breakfast. All right, we want to have a bike session before we have breakfast because again, it's raining outside. I don't want to take a second run in the rain. I also have to be careful of second runs, the barefoot running. My feet don't like doing a second run. I can do an hour straight and I'm fine, but if I do 20 and go for a second run, my feet need like a day between to recover a little bit. They get a little bit sore. So again, let's just get in. Let's get on the bike. Let's do a little bit of cardio here, right? So I'll go ahead and triple dip. I'm going to stream to all my platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on the Facebook fitness page. We're on my profile. And we'll see what we get for people in here. We never know. I haven't done one of these in like a week almost because I'm doing all the cardio with the running, but occasionally, probably once or twice a week, I probably need to get in here something like this and do this, particularly before I eat breakfast, right? Because I'm still fasted. You know, we got a good workout in, got a decent run, but I just want to burn a few more calories still in this fasted window, get through a little bit more energy. And it'll help with the stamina because, again, we did a lot of work first, right? So energy turnover is probably really high, even for something like just a bike ride right now. So again, it's always good to get that extra activity in, earn the food, better flux, better nutrient partitioning. Again, particularly something like a list cardio like this during a fasted window tends to really cut into some body fat stores. And then we get a nice large anabolic response when we finally do eat. But hopefully we get some decent streams here. All right, Marco in here with a question. All right, this is probably good enough. I'm going to end the profile just so that we can get a reel. That's the main thing. I need to get a couple of reels up for my Rising Creator badge. As funny as that sounds, it's kind of a thing. Marco said, I increased my vegetable intake, but you didn't hit the like button. But it caused me to fart. Will I get better? Yeah. Yeah, it will improve with time, dude. Right? You will adapt to fiber intake with time. Okay, totally a thing. Right? It's totally a thing. You'll be just fine. Right? You'll be just fine. Just give it a little bit of time. You need time to adapt. So people forget that with fiber intake. They oftentimes forget that we adapt to it. Your gut flora that breaks it down can build and get healthier over periods of time. Okay, makes sense. So if you continue to increase that vegetable intake, as your gut flora grows and the amount grows and it gets healthier, it will get better at breaking it down. But, you know, some gas is always going to be there on a high fiber diet. It's not a bad thing, you know, but it is going to happen. It shouldn't be excessive, right? Right. You know, so that's the way to look at it. But yeah, just keep going. It will improve over time. Right. All right. Hopefully this gets into a few more streams, but at least you liking asking a question kind of gets us flowing a little bit sooner. You know, hopefully that trend continues here. Anybody else? What else do we have, guys? We got any other comments? All right. Nope, just Marco. That's it. Marco, you're going to be the only commenter today. Nobody in Facebook so far. I think people aren't used to me doing these views later. They may not be watching, but it'll pop into people's feeds, you know, and they'll get views later. I forgot to put a nice nifty title in there to really get attention about fake natties and stuff. That tends to help. So Marco's going to be the one question for now. So hopefully we get more. All right, hopefully we get more. Can never tell people though. Mm-hmm. Checking my other stuff while I'm here. That's the perk of the bike. I can check other stuff while we wait. But so far, not a lot happening. So, pretty happy with the workout though. I like the fact that I'm going to start doing more squat, bench, and deadlift. Because again, I do want my big lifts to be good. As we get leaner, as we get fitter, performance is going to matter. It was really weird. I'm doing certain stuff. People are like, "Are you not powerlifting? Do you not care about the big three anymore?" Which seems really weird. Like people have this strange idea that we're not ever multifaceted in our goals. You know, if you cut or you include arm work, are you not powerlifting anymore? Do you not care about strength? Well, no, we can care about multiple things. You know, we can care about being really strong. We can care about being really fit. We can care about having big lifts on the big three. We can care about our 5K time, and we can care about our physique all at the same time, guys. We've reached this really bizarre generation where people think that these things are not all part of fitness. Like it's a really strange situation that we have reached to where fitness culture divides these things up, right? For those who are unaware, that's a recent thing. Dudes who are 30 or younger are probably not aware of that. Guys who are 30 or under are probably completely clueless about the fact that this is a very recent occurrence to where people don't pursue all these things sometimes at the same time. It used to be really normal, right? Being jacked, strong, aesthetic, and fit all at the same time. It used to be just a normal thing in the fitness world when it was much smaller. But as it's grown and grown and grown, with more outreach and social media, there's been more niches to where people really say, "Oh, I don't care about the other. I don't care about how strong I am. Or I don't care how I look. Or I don't care about my conditioning," right? They do this stuff, right? And the reality is that's just being lazy and it's not being well-rounded. We were triple dipping. Brian, appreciate the comment there on Facebook. But again, we need to be clear that is a very recent, I mean, within the last 10 to 12 years, really, 15 years maybe, type thing. Kenshiro says, "We're good, man. How are you, Kenshiro?" Marco, 600-pound deadlift realistic goal for me if I'm natty, 36 years old. I'm built for deadlift on arms that lifted 540, 172 years ago. It might be within reach. Is it possible to develop an excessive interior pelvic tilt from overdoing the reverse hyper? No. Probably not. You guys really worry about the wrong things on squats. What is more impressive, a 500 conventional deadlift, 4-5 squat? Those are both considered normal, about even, Kenshiro. And those are just normal. Those are part of my dad bod strength standard. I tell you guys, like your strength standard you should aim for in your 40s. 315 bench, 4-5 squat, 500 deadlift, 10 pull-ups. I think we want to start adding a fitness standard to that too. Yeah, they're pretty equal, right? But TKS, no, I wouldn't worry about that. Like even pelvic tilt on your squatting is usually just bad form, right? That's literally all it is. Most of the time, you're just not bracing correctly. Nothing to do with doing reverse hypers. So why would building stronger muscles in your glutes and your core and your erectors cause anterior pelvic tilt? I think if people look at the anatomy of spine rounding, they'd be really, really shocked. I think the average fitness person, I think the average fitness influencer and content creator is completely clueless about human spine anatomy. I think they're completely clueless. I bet you can't round your lower back on a conventional deadlift off the floor. I bet you no matter how hard you try, if you look at the camera closely from the side angle, you can't do it. Not without going into like a super, super deep deficit. Like you might be able to do it standing on 8-inch blocks or 6-inch blocks. You can't do it off the floor. Ken Sherrill, I used to hook grip. I don't anymore because I have short thumbs. It doesn't give me any benefit, and I play guitar. Marco, when will age start working against when I won't be able to make some more gains as an advanced lifter? Marco, that's like asking how long is a piece of string. We have no idea. Okay. It's going to be involved with two factors. How much muscle did you gain in your fast twitch fibers relative to your hormone profile? And are you still neurologically able to recruit all the fast twitch fibers? Right, you're going to reach a point in your 50s or 60s or 70s somewhere where your nervous system those synapses can't fire in all the fast twitch fibers. They're not going to physically do to your nervous system fire. When that happens, you're definitely not making more gains. You're done. You're not making any more gains if you've been lifting already at that point. Only a novice will. Right. But then you also have to factor how big did you get relative to your total hormone profile, IGF-1 production. Like, did you get really close to your peak drug-free limit? And then your hormone profile starts to drop with every decade. Well, then you're going to have some minor problems too, right? But so you're looking at 4 or 5 different variables that you don't know what age they're going to land at. Probably somewhere between, 50 and 65, ballpark estimate. It could be further outside that range. Nice 315 with 3 bench pause. Thanks, Scott. Thank you, sir. Mustafa, you didn't miss much. We're just chilling. Because it's raining outside, I'm definitely not taking a second run. I did a full body. I did a 30-minute run. I just feel like I need a little more cardio. I started slow bulk up there, failing to lose any weight for weeks. I feel like tired and need to gain some muscle. You want to gain 1 kilo from a starting point. Well, that's not a big deal, man. Mustafa. Keep in mind, you're a very lean dude. Cutting can be really hard from where you're at. Marco says he knows that he's built for deadlift, long arms and legs. Bench is only 265 when you deadlift 540. Yeah, that sounds like long arm problems right there, bro. Yeah, I mean, a 265 is not a bad bench at 170. Like, I mean, realistically, guys, even though I put out standards like a 315, we really going to hate on a 170-pound guy who benches 265? Like, can anybody really hate on that? Old PA Sam says low Tarogar. Yep. Hey, Mustafa, do you really want me to answer that question in public? Are we claiming natty still? Or you see the problem with the question? Like, do I need to go ahead and say, hey, on your steroid stack, are you cool with me doing that? Are we doing natural clams? So you see what I mean? You probably shouldn't ask questions like that. Right? Fair? Because my questions need to be, I can't answer that. Nobody can answer that. Right? Yeah, no one can tell you how long as a really advanced lifter it will take to gain X amount of muscle on X drug stack. We can't do that. Like, that's asking impossible questions. I mean, you could pay me even for the answer and I would just have to lie and make up something. So just get in and do it, man. Guys really obsess too much over the minutia of how long, and like, just put in the work. Some of these things are completely unpredictable. All right. Look, Mark Grant was built for the deadlift and bench well over 300 at 130. It can't be done. Again, genetic freaks. Guys, stop using genetic outliers for saying what can be done. Because keep in mind, genetic outliers proving something can be done is irrelevant to everybody else. That's like saying Bill Gates proves that you can totally become a billionaire. So do we see how impractical that advice is? Hey guys, there's no excuse for you not being a billionaire. Bill Gates proved it could be done. Elon Musk proved that it's possible to become a billionaire. Why aren't you guys all billionaires? You're just lazy. That's the equivalent. So when someone says that some extreme 1 in 10 million or 1 in 100 million outlier achieves something, it's completely irrelevant. Kinabody said in one of the videos that the BMI between 24 and 25 might be true if you're really lean. I don't know it needs to be that low, but if you're really lean and you're drug free, it's pretty reasonable. Most girls think a bench under 2 times body weight is insignificant. Yeah, double body weight bench is pretty good. I mean, my client Doug did it, right? Doug did a double body weight. My client Perry did too. But these are all serious competitive lifts. Like Doug, literally his first meet qualified for nationals. Is a guy who can't deadlift because of his shorter arms. Yeah, if you go to a strength specific, Ken Shiro, he's right. Go to a strength specific gym, it'll totally change your view. If you're in commercial gyms, yeah, it's unheard of. You walk into a powerlifting gym. Maddie Ford says, carnivore. Hey, Maddie, you probably are not aware of this. You're on my Facebook. I make so many anti-carnivore posts and videos. I can tell that you're new. No, carnivore is provably a deadly diet. It is the worst fad diet I have ever seen in my life. I am 100% opposed to it, and I think that the evidence for why is overwhelming. I'm literally shocked that anyone even thinks it's viable or even considers trying it. You're literally, let's set aside the saturated fat. You're talking about eating no fruits, vegetables, or fiber. That alone is insane and deadly. Like, we could end the conversation there. Anyone who's anti-fiber and promoting anti-fiber is literally trying to kill you. They want you to die young. They want you to have cancer, gut problems, diabetes, heart disease. It's almost guaranteed that it's going to happen as a result of that. Okay, so that pretty much should sum it up. We could literally just address the fiber or vegetable thing. We don't even have to go into the rest. That is enough to know that anyone promoting it literally wants you dead. Full stop. All right, back over to YouTube. How good are chin-ups for the upper back? I mean, pretty decent. Marco says, right, that's like using prime Mike Tyson example and saying all of the boxers suck because they aren't on his level. No, that's like saying Mike Tyson shows us what sort of speed is possible. It's totally possible. Yeah, it's irrelevant to everybody else. It's irrelevant to people who are only in the top 10% genetically for that. Why do people form culture on diet towards vegan or carnivore? Because they need it for their identity, right? They need that in-group. People really need to identify somewhere with something to have in-group, out-group bias, and some people, personality-wise, need it more. Plus, those sort of diet culture an outlet for certain types of mental illness. I'll throw some chicken breast and avocado on the George Foreman. Go, there you go. Coach, I ate 2 apples for my afternoon snack, getting my fiber in. You're fibery, the British spelling. That's a little bit. That's not obviously all your fiber for the day, but it's a start. Do you do sprints or jumps? Hey guys, if y'all would like to answer that for him, do I do jumps on camera multiple times a week? Yes or no? Did we jump today on camera this morning? Yes, Ken, I do plyos on camera. I did them today. Literally uploaded it an hour ago. We eating carbs here. There we go. Coach has hops. Indeed, Coach has hops. Coach gets to the hippity hop, hippity hop. Right? So what do? We do heavy squat, bench, and deadlift. We do rep work for hypertrophy. We jump for power. I run for conditioning. And of course, I'm doing some stuff like this off and on. Mainly because I ran for 30 minutes already today after lifting, and I want to get a little bit more just activity in. So we're just going to get on the bike and ride here for a bit. Again, just general activity, you know. All right. Pasta versus white rice as a carb source. As a carb source, they're equal. They have different nutritional value outside of their carbohydrates, but the carbohydrates in them are relatively equal. I lean more in the direction of white rice personally if I had to pick between the two. I wonder what's harder to achieve, a 2 times body weight bench or pull up. I don't know. Do you consume honey? Sometimes I'm out of it right now. I've been mixing, but I only do honey mixed in with other carbohydrates and stuff. You need it to mix. You need it to basically soak into fiber to be viable. But in that context, it can be fine. It's hard to combine plyometric with squats and deads. Interesting. My jumps increases whenever my squat. I do them in the same day. Why people risk their whole life bodybuilding, take most drugs as young just to be the most muscular at a young age? Because they're young and they don't think through the consequences and they get sucked into the bodybuilding culture. I think a few less people would do it if they were all just told to be serious in bodybuilding. You're going to have to do insane amounts of drugs that are going to kill you. If they were just honest about that. But there would still be people who do it. I mean, Sam Salute did, and he's doing it for the internet money. You know, he doesn't have the genetics to be a great bodybuilder. Not at the professional level. I'm doing jogging right now, Kenshiro. So, Kenshiro, you're clearly new to following me. I just started running again. I was doing sprints with my sled, walking, all this other stuff. I used to be a distance runner 25 years ago. I started running again 2 weeks ago. I haven't run in over 20 years, but I decided I wanted to make it a dedicated part of my fitness again. So I started running 2 weeks ago. It's just a jog. Like I did an hour and 2 minutes yesterday, but I'm doing like 12-minute miles. So it's pretty slow, you know, but you know, I did 5.5 miles yesterday in one run. It's just a jog. I'm going to build it up. I'm probably not going to sprint. I may want to like get a good mile time. I want to get some good 5K times, but I'm probably not going to sprint. Again, keep in mind, I'm turning 49 this year, you know, and I'm still over 200 pounds. I am slow cutting down, but I mean, I hit a 500 squat earlier this year on camera. like with just a belt and shorts on, like no sleeves, no shoes. I did a 500 squat. I don't know my best. I didn't time it. I didn't care. I'm going to see if you're a new account. Okay. He didn't make this account today. All right. Is there any reason to sprint if you're just doing slow sprints? Maybe not. I mean, you might have sport-specific reasons. Where do you feel fatigue at the end of the jogging? Legs or lungs? I'm in good shape, so it's not conditioning. Usually my calves and feet. If doing full body workouts, you recommend starting with a leg exercise? Usually, yeah. Hey, the scale is still in the same range, OJC. So no change. Let's just say there. Probably since the last time you checked in. Coach, will you start working in different running exercises, tempo runs, progression? No, probably not. Probably not. At least not for now. Now, when you're asking me, will I, or are you asking me, do I plan to? Those are two different questions. No, I do not currently have any plans to. Does that mean 3 months from now I might not formulate some really elaborate programming for it? It could happen. I currently have no plans to do so. Doesn't mean I won't eventually plan to do so or do so. It just means that at this time, I currently have no plan for that. Right. So I'm not ruling it out, but it's not currently in the plans. Hopefully that's a satisfactory answer. I realize the distinction between those questions now, because a lot of times people do that stuff and they go, Jason, do you plan to return to conjugate? And I say no. And then I go back to conjugate. So, but you didn't plan on it. I didn't rule it out. You asked me, was I specifically planning on it? How does D-bol rate? I mean, it's an oral, so that already is a problem. What protective exercises? I don't think you need to do many reverse hypers. I own a reverse hyper. I used to use it really religiously, not as much lately. I think that handles it. Don't have weak glutes. You don't need a big three. No, don't have weak glutes. Problem solved. Have strong glutes. Your lower back will generate strong abs. Done. So I don't know. Anything that builds your glutes, including deep squats, do some hanging leg raises or crunches, you're good. Don't do dumb stuff with your back. Don't bounce your deadlifts off the floor. Don't do things that jar it too badly. Right? If you jump on the boxes. Unbelievable coach, when entering a stressful period of life, new job, kids, do you recommend maintaining or deloading? I don't recommend deloads at all. Generally, unless you're forced to deload. Just reduce the training volume a little. Cut your training volume back to a recoverable amount while it adapts. Start looking at, hey, what's the minimum volumes I need to adapt, and then go to that while you get through that. It's usually what I do for clients. You know, newborn baby, their sleep's going to be disrupted, right? So you scale back to the minimum volume they need to get any progression at all. And then you can increase it later once you're through that period of time. I don't coach kids. So how do we build our forearms if we have naturally pencil thin ones? Do all your pulling without straps. I don't have big forearms naturally. I have small forearms naturally, right? I have small wrists and small forearm, long, skinny forearms naturally. Do all your pulling without straps. Maybe do some hammer curls. Done. I mean, even your hanging leg raises, you need to do them without straps. All right? Your forearms will grow. If you need to, you can do some wrist curls and things, but it may not be necessary. I've done phases of them. You don't need any of that, can you? Mainly, I mean, that can be helpful, but mainly do all your stuff without straps. Your forearms will grow. And wrist rollers are not bad. I mean, you could do plate pinches and stuff too if you need to. You do holds, get an axle bar. I have an axle bar too. That works great if you need it in phases. But usually the first step, he's talking about starting from having pencil thin arms. Just do all your pulling without straps. Problem solved. Nothing else on Facebook since that Carnivore question. Got them Carnivores. I don't care what I double overhand deadlift. I don't know, probably 405 ballpark. I've definitely done 405 before on camera. I don't care. Nobody cares because it's not like a real lift. Nobody deadlifts that way. It's just a grip test. Right? Plus, people love to fake it. You guys remember when Strap-On faked it with that hook grip he slipped in real quick? And then when they tested his grip later, someone did separately. It wasn't that great. Mix is good, but I have to be careful. Why? Why do you have to be careful not to tear a bicep? So stop using trend. Stop bending your elbows. Lock your elbows. Make sure you pull the slack out of the bar and stay off trending once your problem solved. All right. How many sets per week do you do for traps? None. They just grow as a side effect. Pull-ups, deadlifts, all that stuff. I mean, obviously rows help, but I'm not even really rowing at the moment. I was doing dumbbell rows for a little bit again recently, but deadlifts, pull-ups, overhead press, rows, that'll build your traps. You're supposed to deadlift with one hand under and the other. Yeah, it's called mixed grip. Yes, strap-on. AD claims he's natural. Again, I'm not even going to get into those arguments anymore. Look, fitness YouTubers claiming they're natural just by default assume they're lying. Right. Yeah, lifting for kids is safe if they've reached 10 or stage 4 and they have proper instruction. Yeah, can we not go on about other YouTubers? We don't care. I'm trying to tell you guys, they don't exist for me. I don't really care about other YouTubers. In fact, I'm not on just YouTube right now. Like Facebook is my main platform. I'm literally streaming on both. Just my Facebook doesn't get as many hits on the lives. I'm in both platforms right now. I'm streaming multiple places all at once. Just we get views, but not many questions on the Facebook one right now. But I don't care about YouTubers. I just don't, unless they make music. YouTube isn't better though. Not a better platform. Not for creators. Definitely not for creators, guys. No. This pedaling is so easy compared to the running. I'm doing it. Franco Colombo. I'm a Franco Colombo fan, actually. And it's because he was so well-rounded. Like, he did everything. Like, that's what people should aspire to. Great physique, strong power lifter, competed in strongman, did other sports because he was a boxer. I mean, unbelievable. What does it mean, government? The government has nothing to do with that. I plan to bring the kettlebell swings back in. So let's go back to, am I ruling it out, or are you asking me, do I actively have a plan? Those are two separate questions. So the answer is no. I have no current plans to bring the kettlebell swings back in. Does it mean I might not make a plan tomorrow to start doing so? I wouldn't rule it out. I got to remind you guys, those are two separate questions. I got to remind people more and more and more. Because the word plan has a specific meaning, do I actively have a date and a scheme scheduled? No. Do I plan on having any plan for it? No. I might never do another kettlebell swing in my entire life. But I could start doing them tomorrow just as GPP without giving it a second thought, because it's just GPP. And sometimes we just like to get in and do some conditioning, right? Just for the activity, just for, again, general physical preparedness. Good morning versus back extension. Good mornings. I did a 500 good morning earlier this year. My record on camera ever was 555. I did a 500 though back, I think, in January or February. I haven't been doing them lately again, though. Conceded wrist curls with the X bar attached on the cable machine is a job for the forearm growth. What? I don't even know what the hell you were talking about. Okay, let's go back over to that whole point about losing your straps. Why are you worried about stuff like this? We just talked about tossing the straps and pulling raw, and you're talking about cables for your forearms. I think you're fucking with me, honestly. Okay. Let me state again, I have genetically tiny, skinny forearms. Do all your pulling without straps, and they will get thick and meaty and striated. Okay. Franco is nearing a fat-free message, or of course he's a strong AF, right? If someone doesn't have space to do things like sled drags, would you recommend kettlebell swings? Is the next best? No, they're still good. So we start trying to rank GPP though as best and next best. I think this can get silly. That's not understanding the concept of GPP. At this point, we're at the level of not understanding GPP with that sort of question. They're great. They're fine. It's general physical preparedness. Sure, do some kettlebell swings. You could do some barbell complexes. You could do any sort of semi-strength-based conditioning counts as GPP. Yeah. I'm just going to ignore Ken Shiro. I think he's a troll. I'm going to let him stay for now. Kettle trap bar. I think he hits points like that he knows that I'm, people try to rile me up. All right. Let's get Blaha fired up. Throwing something at the screen, screaming, buck trap bars. Next, I'll bring up the Smith machine. Smith machines are even better. You beat me to it. Unbelievable. Said next, I'll say Smith machine, and you said it next. Right? Like clockwork. People know my buttons. Right? They know how to push my button. Don't bring up rack pulls. They better be below the knee only as a weak point exercise. They're trying to draw me in. That's what they're trying to do. Right? Yeah, someone will throw that in the above the knee rack pull next. I heard above the knee rack pulls are great for traps. That's where I just like flip shit and throw the webcam. All right. Trying to get a rise out of me. And I'm over here doing the bike again. Nobody dropped any supers. Where's Dean at when we need him? Will you ever do leg extensions again? Okay, I need to say this without lying in any way. I currently have no plans to ever do leg extensions again for the rest of my life. However, I would not rule out the possibility at some point. Okay, next. We're over here talking about cables and stuff. Why would you need to even set up a cable to train your forearms? Do you just grab a dumbbell or a barbell? It's not difficult, man. If you even needed to directly train them. Did you do the other stuff first? Or are you doing all your pulling? Did you try hammer curls yet? Like, have we started with the proven basics first before you graduate to, well, it's still not where I want it, so I want to try this exotic bodybuilding thing with a cable. Okay. Have you done the basics first? Like, you do deadlift 500 without straps? Do you do weighted pull-ups without straps? Right? If you say you're not strong enough to do these things, then your forearms are not the problem. Your whole body is lacking. Right. There's probably nothing coach has done on camera that he will never do again, except maybe Bulgarian, right? I don't understand what's going on. I genuinely read an article about trap bar deadlifts. Yeah, don't even get me started on trap bar. I'm going to quote my bro Viata. The trap bar is a solution looking for a problem. I believe for someone who actually knows how to perform a deadlift, it is a higher risk exercise. I think it has a higher risk of back injury for someone who has been taught how to deadlift correctly than a conventional deadlift. And I will die on that hill. It's unstable at the top. Right? It requires you to use a minimum of 8% more weight to get the same rate of perceived exertion according to studies. And it's unstable at the lockout when you're spine loaded with a heavier weight. Not getting behind it. And I'm not the only coach out there who feels that way. There are plenty of big names who feel the same way, and you don't see them do it either. Again, trap bar is a solution looking for a problem. I own one. I don't use it. I need to sell it. I keep trying to, but I never get around to it. I've offered it to a few people cheap, and they never pull the trigger on it. Guys who lives a block away asked me about some stuff, and I told him I'd sell it to him. He said he'd think about it. So it's just sitting there in the rack. Hasn't been used in many years. I was collecting just a lot of stuff back then. But someone who's messed with one and used it, yeah, it's just they're too unstable, really. I think it's problematic. Again, says me. My opinion. And since this is my channel and page this is streaming on, it's my opinion is the one that matters. I always hate that when someone brings it up. Well, this person disagrees. I'm like, okay, so you took a topic that you can find 10 really good coaches who agree and 10 really good coaches who disagree. At that point, we're getting into a lot of opinion. Okay, weirdest thing ever. I've always felt that regular deadlifts are safer for my back than sumo. They feel safer for you. People actually underestimate how hard the ground in the savannah of Africa was. So about barefoot running. Yeah, I run barefoot. What's interesting is, again, there's so many people who are like coming at me about it, and others are supporting it who are barefoot runners. I was not aware it was such a polarizing topic. I was unaware that it was, but apparently it is a very polarizing topic. A lot of diehard supporters and people who just, you need shoes. You're going to step on something. Joe Rogan runs barefoot, right? Well, he's crazy mofo though. Like, I don't know if that's an automatic endorsement. Joe's kind of crazy. Coach, do you stretch femoral or get massages at all? No. I do dead hangs. Does that count as a stretch? Does hanging from a bar count as a stretch? I have a massage gun. I dig it into some places. I dig it in my quads sometimes and my shoulders. So I do have a massage gun. I don't necessarily use it every day. I run barefoot because it's better for your feet. It's easier on your knees too. Still shaking my head over Joey's hole, right? Yeah, the ground back then was about as hard as asphalt, and people didn't take that into account. Afternoon, Coach. What's up, Loggers? How you doing, brother? Yeah, running is much better for your feet. It builds stronger, more mobile feet and ankles. That's been pretty well confirmed. Way healthier for your feet. It does seem to actually be better on your knees too. I couldn't do barefoot running near where I live. Well, fair enough. How your feet? They've been down to pretty good. You watched me run for an hour and 2 minutes straight yesterday in a vlog. Isa. Too much detritus and junk. Okay, I don't know what that means. Right. Fair enough. That's a very good start. Yeah, so we're off to a start. I think I'm only going to do an hour a day, but I want to gradually improve the run times. So I think with just practice, if I do about an hour most non-training days, that pace will improve just from practice, right? So that's kind of the game plan. I feel like as long as I just try to get an hour in the non-lifting days, most of them, not all of them. And then, like today, I did 30 minutes because I lifted first. I did squats and deadlifts first and jumps. So I only did 30 minutes, and then it started raining too. So even getting more is not going to work. Yeah, I used to have a Golds membership. I trained at a few Golds back in the day. Been a long time. I haven't been in a Golds. Is Gold still around? Did they close? No, I've had a Golds membership before. I've had 24 hours more than any other chain though in the past. Yeah, that 12-minute mile pace is what I'm doing. It's good to get my everything used to it. So pretty much I feel like that's a good starting point. Like it took me about a week to get it before I can run that far. A week of running every day. We just added every day. And then now that I'm hitting, those 12-minute miles. I did 5.5 or whatever yesterday. 5.5 miles in an hour. Now we start building the speed up, right? Just slowly bring the speed up. And that'll happen just by doing it, just running more. You'll get faster and faster. So that's its own form of progression, really. Do you think Jay Cutler had a good physique? No, I think he looked hideous. He's a modern bodybuilder. Absolutely not at all. But in his defense, no does anybody in that era. Nobody did. Lee Haney was probably, and he was pushing the size almost too big. Lee Haney was probably the last good physique in like open bodybuilding. After that, they were not good physiques. So that same era, like Bob Paris had a good physique in that same era, the 80s. Once you got past the 80s, though, pretty much not good physiques anymore. Hey, Kenshiro, are we going to sit here and speculate what drug differences or training or whatever? I don't know. I mean, different genetics, different responses to drugs, the amount of drugs, right? Who knows? A lot of factors. I mean, if you want to just speculate, you could stand there and speculate with people for 1,000 hours and still not come to a conclusion. But how do you know Jay isn't going to have a bunch of health problems coming up? I mean, he used a lot of drugs, guys, a lot. You don't get where he was on a gram of test a week. So, that Cutler's body handled the beast pretty well. That picture of you with bigger arms, low test. Low test, he's a. Have you heard of Chad Knuckles? Yes, I've heard him. Reach up and hit that like and ring coach's bell. Tell him old. Tell him old. You got to hit that like button and ring that bell to follow me. Hit the bell down below. Do we even need to hit the hour? Are we good, really? I did 30 minutes of running. That's where you're messing around with some horse meds. Why do you say that, Izza? Now that you're running, you should talk about shin splints, hip pains, back pains that occur, and how we can just build gradually. I mean, keep in mind, Lars, I'm not going to be in the same situation because I'm doing barefoot. It's a totally different running style. And I have a strong back and strong glutes, so the back pain is not really going to be a thing. Mainly it's just calf cramps because of running barefoot. So I don't know that that's really going to be my thing unless we're talking only barefoot running. In which case overuse can beat your ankles up, can beat your feet up. But the shin splints and things, yeah. Lifelong lifter, also started running recently. It's really fun. There you go, Clip. I'm enjoying it, dude. I get a runner's high. I'm getting a legit runner's high doing it. It's good stuff. He said, what are you talking about using this for? What are you talking about? Listen, I'm going to see if he just made this account today. Yeah, that explains it. Yeah, that explains it. Just made the account today. I ask you why you insist on barefoot only. Because I don't want to get used to running in shoes. Because it's a totally different skill. So if you get used to running in shoes, you have to literally train to run barefoot, and it's a whole adaptation process again, because it's a different type of run. Like your complete run gait and style is going to be completely different. So what you get used to running out with shoes on, if you take them off and go barefoot, you're going to have to relearn how to run all over again. And that actually is where all the injuries from it come from. People who are conditioned to large amounts of running trying to just go straight to barefoot, and then they're not used to the new style, right? And their knees and stuff get beat up because they're doing too many heel strikes, right? Stuff you get away with a shoe that you just learn to not do without. But yeah, it's way better for your feet. There's even some data that it might even burn more calories. Definitely because of the calf use. Like the calves get worked big time, and I have big calves, so it's like, man, feels like a calf workout. Like I had calf DOMs for the first few days. Every day, like my calves would lay in there with DOMs at night. The first few days getting used to the running without shoes. Like that was my limiting factor, was my calf pumps and then the calf DOMs. Avoiding injury as a runner is the main goal. Yeah. So you just limit, you build slowly, don't get overuse. Yeah, just avoid injuries. So build everything slowly, just like me. I built that up, and then it's like we'll slowly increase speed. Yeah, I'll be back. Shoes today are very springy. Yeah. I was down to a sub 6:15. It's nice. Good stuff, man. Good stuff there, brother. That injuries ruined me. What about glass? Lars, why do you guys keep asking about this? I banned so many people over the glass and needle thing already during the runs. Like, why do you guys get out of the fucking hood? I mean, stop living in the ghetto. This is Jesus Christ. I'm sorry that you live in some slum. So go make more money and move out of the ghetto. Like, this is not a thing. What glass? All right. Well, but I can't help you with that, guys. So I'm probably not. So why would you ask a person who is a casual runner who lives in an area without these sort of problems? You see what I mean? Like, so I'm not the person you should ask for advice. It's like the people who come here and ask me about, hey, what's the best way to keep my hair on a drug stack? I'm like, do you really think I'm the person? I'm probably not the right person to ask about this. Like their streets are filled with glass. Dude, I haven't seen one broken bottle on my run so far. Or UK street. Well, I guess if your feet get tough, you can just step on the glass. You watch out for dogs. Yeah, he did run it. No, he was friendly. That was a big old chocolate lab. Like, well, hold up. Then he ran over. He licked my hand. He was friendly. The owner was chasing him. Like he was trying to catch him. As some of y'all jogging on Skid Row. I was like, man. I mean, I think people in the UK, it's going to be different. I can't help you guys with your problems. I just can't move to some place like where I live, like get out of your country. I mean, I can't help you with these things. But I'm going to promote barefoot running. I don't know, the glass might not be that bad. Your feet would probably get used to it. Maybe move to a better location, as Coach said. I mean, there's your problem, dude. I believe it's something about a race. Dude, there's every group in my neighborhood. It's just fine, man. We have every group of people in my neighborhood. All right. But meaning, that's the only advice I can give you. So as a coach, when someone's saying, hey, I can't do this because of the area I live in, my only response can be to move. Like, as a coach, that's really all I can give you. You know what I mean? In the UK, they have an understanding of secluded communities. Everyone can go everywhere. Yeah. They have no understanding of it, right? Yeah. Yeah, move or get a treadmill. I mean, if you have a viable skill, immigrate to the US, All right. Go ahead and wind down the Facebook. We hit the hour. Time for me to get some breakfast. I think we have earned it. We'll get my food on. All right, guys. Love you guys. So I'm going to wind this down. Hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you next time.